Zacian is an absolute menace inside of Pokemon Unite, but there are ways to counter this Pokemon, so that is what we're going to go over in this video, is the best counters right now for Zacian so you don't get destroyed on Eos Island. Come along with me, friends. Jake, your resident content cowboy here. Yeehaw! Number 11. CC, also known as crowd control, stuns, knockups, throws. These are things inside of Pokemon Unite that stop a Pokemon from doing things for a moment. They are massive in the game right now. Your defenders have tons of them, so do a lot of your supporters. These Pokemon are going to help you a ton fighting this absolute beast. If you're a defender on your team, make sure you put your effort into stunning, slowing, knocking up this crazy overpowered Pokemon. Number 10. TIDUS'S Celestial Weapon in Final Fantasy X is one of the best in any of the Final Fantasy games, but it's not that easy to achieve. First, you have to collect the weapon, then you have to find the crest, then you have to win the sigil, and finally upgrade the weapon. It is quite a process where you have to win multiple Chocobo races inside of Final Fantasy X to achieve this weapon. However, once you do, you will unlock one of the most powerful weapons in any Final Fantasy, and this is something that can easily deal with Zacian. Zacian is no match for a fully powered up Tidus, and yes, I call him Tidus. I will never call him Tidus. Never will you hear me say Tidus on this channel. I do not like that name, and I refuse to say it. Very quickly, first you need to win the Catcher Chocobo course. That will then move that guy who is guarding that small peninsula so you can collect the weapon. Then you must find the crest in the Xanarkand Dome where you fought Unalesca. Then finally, you have to go back to the Chocobo race and finish the race with zeros across the board. It is very, very difficult. After doing all this, you can go to the tree in Macalania and power up TIDUS'S weapon, and then you can finally use this to beat Zacian. Number 9. Summoning the Spirit Dragon God SHENRON from the Dragon Ball series. If you collect all 7 Dragon Balls, you will be able to make a wish to this very, very powerful dragon. You can't wish something more powerful than the dragon, but you can use this wish to do many, many things. One of the biggest, counter Zacian. If you were to be able to wish this, you could make sure that that Pokemon either doesn't get picked by the enemy team, or if it does, it will be one of those players that doesn't know how to use it. So gather all 7 Dragon Balls and you will be able to make this wish. Something that you should note, if the Dragon Balls have been used within a 1-year span of time, they cannot be used again. So you need to find the Dragon Balls quickly so you're able to make this wish before someone else makes a different wish and you won't be able to use this power. If the Dragon Balls are powerful enough to bring Goku back from the dead, they're powerful enough to help you with Zacian. This is an amazing counter to this Pokemon. It's overpowered, but it's not Dragon Ball overpowered. Counter number 8. The gang from Stranger Things. There doesn't seem to be anything that this group of kids can't handle. And I don't know what to say about some of the adults in Stranger Things. I was not in love with that whole Russia storyline in the most recent season, but I really think that the gang is back and they could definitely handle Zacian. If they can handle the Mind Flare and other crazy things that this series has thrown after them, they could definitely handle this overpowered Pokemon. Obviously, you need to make sure you get 11 fully powered up and ready to fight this thing. A lot of the gang doesn't have powers, I wouldn't say, but their heart, determination, and their ability to adapt to any situation makes them very, very formidable. Zacian, you better watch out, because the gang from Stranger Things is coming to counter you. Number 7. Gaslighting. That's right, gaslighting. A huge counter to Zacian is getting Zacian to question its own mental sanity and stability. Start to convince it that it has said things or done things that it hasn't actually done. Gaslighting is an extremely effective way to deal with something that is incredibly overpowered. Try to convince it that it's not overpowered, or try to convince it that it doesn't even want to play this game. No matter what you do, just make sure that by the end of the match, Zacian can't seem to figure out up from down, left from right. You control Zacian's reality with gaslighting. It's extremely powerful, sometimes difficult to use, but if you stick to it, I know that you can make it happen. You can do anything you want to do. See? That's gaslighting. Zacian counter number 6. A good night's rest. Do you know that most adults don't get enough sleep? You need at least 7 hours of sleep a night, and that's a minimum for most adults. Some people think that they can function on a few hours of sleep, but it is really, really not the case. Teens need 8 to 10 hours of sleep, while school-aged children need 9 to 12 hours of sleep a night. There are so many benefits to getting a good night's rest. You will get sick less often, you will stay at a healthy weight, you'll lower your risk for serious health problems like diabetes and heart disease, you'll reduce stress, improve mood, think more clearly, do better at school and work, and most importantly, counter Zacian. One of the most important things that you can do to counter this Pokemon is to get a good night's rest. People without a good night's rest will have a very difficult time dealing with this Pokemon inside of their ranked matches. But if you get a solid 8 hours of sleep, at least as an adult, you'll have a much better shot of dealing with this Pokemon. A good night's rest is so important when you are trying to counter this OP Mon. Zacian counter number 5. Spikes. That's right, spikes. Very sharp, pointy things that we've seen in tons of different video games and something that we always worried about as a child. Spikes are really pointy, and if you just step on them from a moment, you die. This is something that you can use to counter Zacian. At any moment, if you have a bunch of spikes around, that Pokemon really can't do too much because simply touching those spikes would mean that they lose a life. If they don't have any of their lives left, Zacian is now defeated, and all you needed to do was let them run into the spikes. Spikes are incredibly dangerous, and in some situations they're found just about everywhere, especially in a platformer. So if you're dealing with Zacian and you're worried about what to do, just make sure you get ample amounts of spikes. That will help you deal with this Pokemon. Number 4. THANE KRIOS from Mass Effect 2. THANE is a Drell assassin and considered one of the best assassins in the galaxy. If you want to deal with Zacian, get THANE on your squad. It's very important when you're assembling your team in Mass Effect 2 to get THANE. That way you can use THANE against Zacian right now in Pokemon Unite. You first encounter THANE on Ilium when he performs a very impressive assassination right in front of Commander Shepard's eyes. You later bring THANE onto your crew and you realize that THANE is slowly dying from a disease known as Kepral's syndrome. No matter what, even if THANE dies later from this disease, it will help you deal with Zacian right now. And you want to assemble your entire crew for Mass Effect 2. That's the best part of the game. Number 3. SLOWBRO. SLOWBRO is actually an amazing counter to this Pokemon. Not only does it have a ton of stuns and crowd control as we talked about earlier, but its Unite move shuts down a Pokemon. Use this against Zacian. It is one of the best counters in the game when something is extremely overpowered, to have a SLOWBRO on your team and use its Unite move to destroy it, to delete it, to shut it down so your whole team can get in there and KO it. SLOWBRO is an amazing counter to this Pokemon. Counter number 2. The B tier. Yes, the dreaded B tier. Unfortunately, we still have the B tier, and as long as I'm around, I think that's not going to change. Fortunately for us, the B tier is a great counter to Zacian. Zacian wants to KO something and get rid of it, take it off the map, but the B tier goes nowhere. It cannot be stopped. It is a force that we don't understand and truly can never comprehend. Fortunately for us, the B tier will be here, and if we use it against Zacian, we can banish it to the mid zone, a zone where Pokemon are so mid that no one would want to pick them. The B tier is definitely one of our best options and best counters against this Pokemon. And finally, the best counter of all, the number 1 Zacian counter. Finally, the power of friendship. The power of friendship is incredible, amazing. There are people you will meet who will be in your lives forever, and that is a very valuable thing. Make sure you take care of your friends. Make sure you spend the time to really give them what they need. If they need to be picked up from the airport, just do it. Do whatever you need to do with your friends, because at the end of the day, the power of friendship is one of the things that can save you from some of the most overpowered Pokemon inside of Pokemon Unite. I don't care if the Pokemon is bugged, I don't care if it's Scyther, I don't care if it's released Duraludon, no matter what it is, including Zacian, the power of friendship overcomes all. Get with your buddies and make sure that you really enjoy them as friends, because that is what this is all about anyway. Beating Zacian through the power of pure friendship and love. I hope this video helped. I know this Pokemon is very difficult to deal with, but there are some ways to counter it, and all of these things can help you in your matches of Pokemon Unite. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I will see you all very soon. Yeehaw.